My name is Sophie, and until a few nights ago, I was certain my family cherished me. It all began with a single alert. My aunt had forwarded me a video. I was preparing dinner when my phone vibrated. Wiping my hands on a dishcloth, I picked it up and tapped the notification without much thought. At first, I assumed it was something trivial, a nostalgic family clip, perhaps something she found amusing. But then I heard my mother's voice. Sophie ought to be thankful. She'd be nowhere without us. My heart sank. The footage was unsteady, as if someone had propped their phone up without knowing it was recording. Yet the voices were unmistakable. "She's a pitiful loser. That's what Sophie is," my father chimed in, his tone laced with a laugh. "But at least she's useful for something, covering our expenses." Laughter followed. My grip on the phone tightened. If Sophie ever stopped sending cash, my aunt, the one who'd just sent this, said with a sly edge to her voice, "We'll just make her feel bad enough to keep going. She's too weak to refuse." My body went cold. Sophie, my name. They weren't joking about some imaginary person. They were talking about me. For years I'd supported them, paid their rent, cleared their debts, dipped into my own savings to ensure they never faced the hardships I had. And this was their true opinion of me. I stood frozen, my finger lingering over the screen, when suddenly the video vanished. "This message has been deleted." I stared at the alert. My aunt must have realized her error, scrambling to erase the evidence, hoping I hadn't seen it. I could have called her out right then, could have exposed her, could have let them know I'd heard it all. But instead, I set my phone down and acted as if nothing had happened. That's when I made my decision. I wouldn't lash out. Not yet. I had a strategy. I sat there for what seemed like forever, gazing at my phone. Their words replayed in my mind. Sophie ought to be thankful. A pitiful loser, too weak to refuse. I tried to convince myself it was a misunderstanding. Maybe they were teasing. Maybe there was context I didn't grasp. But deep down, I knew the truth. They meant every syllable. And the worst part? They weren't entirely wrong about one thing. I had been too weak to say no. How often had they manipulated me into helping? How many times had I sidelined my own dreams to ensure they had what they needed? My father's short-term money troubles became me footing their rent for years. My brother's college fees? He never even graduated. My mother's constant crises? Always perfectly timed with my paychecks. And I'd done it all without question, because that's what family does, isn't it? I'd spent years telling myself I was doing the right thing, that they valued me, that they loved me. But that video, it shattered every delusion I'd clung to. And now they thought they'd dodged a bullet. My aunt had retracted the message, likely sighing in relief, assuming I was still clueless. Maybe she even reassured the others. Don't worry, Sophie didn't see it. They believed I was still their naive, compliant cash machine, and that was my leverage. I could have messaged her then, could have confronted her, told her I knew it all. But what would that achieve? They'd deny it, make excuses, spin the story to make me feel guilty. Number. If they thought I was still their obedient little ATM, I'd let them think that. For now, because in a few days, the next payment was due. And this time, things would be different. The next morning, I went through my usual routine, but everything felt altered. The sun still filtered through my blinds, my coffee still brewed as always. Yet there was this nagging awareness, like I was viewing my life from a distance for the first time. My phone buzzed, a text from my mother. "Mom. Morning, darling. Just checking on you. Hope you're okay." I stared at the message. It was normal. Too normal. She never messaged just to check in. There was always an ulterior motive. And sure enough, minutes later, Mom. "Oh, by the way, rent's due soon. Can you send it by Friday?" There it was. The same old cycle, the same predictable pattern. But this time, I wasn't falling for it. I typed a reply, my fingers hesitating over the keys. Normally, I'd say something like, "Sure, no problem," or even apologize for any delay to spare their feelings. Not today. I deleted my draft and wrote, "Me. I can't this month." I sent it, placed my phone down, and waited. 1 minute, 2. Buzz. "Mom. What do you mean you can't?" I could sense her irritation through the words. I'd never refused before. I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I sipped my coffee, letting her simmer in her confusion. More messages followed. "Mom. Sophie, this is serious. We're relying on you. You know we don't have other options right now. Another buzz. This time, my aunt. Aunt. Hey, sweetheart, your mom's panicking. Is everything all right? I nearly laughed. Is everything all right? Oh, everything was perfect. I'd spent years funding their lives, and the one time I hinted at stopping, they lost it. Not once did they ask if I was okay, if I needed support. It was never about me. It never had been. I took a deep breath and responded, Me. I've got some unexpected costs this month. Can't send anything. Sorry. That was it. No excuses, no groveling. Then I waited. Their reaction told me everything. The silence was overwhelming. For the first time in years, I'd said no, and they didn't know how to cope. I watched my phone, seeing the 3 dots appear and vanish repeatedly. My mother was typing, pausing, typing again. I pictured her fuming, trying to craft the perfect guilt trip. Finally, her reply came, Mom. Sophie? What do you mean, unexpected costs? What could be more important than your family? There it was. The manipulation. The same tactic they always used. I didn't respond. I let the message linger. Less than a minute later, Mom, you know your brother can't afford rent? If he gets evicted, that's on you. The brother card. Predictable. Then another. Mom, we raised you, Sophie. We supported you when you had nothing. Is this how you repay us? I gritted my teeth, my grip tightening on the phone. When I had nothing, they never supported me. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through school. I clawed my way out of that house, and the moment I had a stable income, they latched onto me, siphoning everything I earned. Another buzz. My aunt this time. Aunt. Sophie, honey, don't do this. We're family. Your mom's just stressed. You know how she is. Just send the rent, and it'll all be fine. Fine for who? I set my phone down, my pulse racing. I needed a moment to breathe, to think. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and sipped slowly, staring at the clock. I felt something shifting inside me. For years, I'd dreaded this moment, terrified that if I stopped paying, they'd despise me, abandon me. But now I knew the truth. They didn't love me. They loved what I provided. And the moment that dried up, they'd reveal their true selves. Buzz. I returned to my phone, picking it up calmly. This time, it was my father. Dad. Sophie, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is unacceptable. You're being selfish. This family depends on you, and you're acting like some spoiled child. Grow up and do what's right. There it was. The mask fully off. No more fake warmth, no pretense of care, just demands. My heart pounded, and then another notification appeared. A voice message from my aunt. My hands shook as I hesitated, my finger hovering over the play button. Something told me this would change everything. I stared at the play button for a long moment. A voice message from my aunt. My pulse thundered in my ears. She wasn't one for voice messages. If she had something to say, she'd usually cloak it in a text. Passive-aggressive, but sweetened just enough to make me feel bad. But this was different. I pressed play. Her voice cut through, sharp and irritated. Sophie, listen. I don't know what kind of stunt you're pulling, but this isn't a game. Your mother's falling apart. Your dad's livid. And honestly, I can't blame them. You've always been, well, a bit ungrateful, but this is pure selfishness. My stomach twisted, but I kept listening. You've got a decent job, don't you? You earn more than any of us. You don't even need that money. Meanwhile, your family's struggling. And what? You just decide one day you don't care? A harsh laugh. You owe them, Sophie. After everything they've done for you, after all their sacrifices, they gave you life. And now you're just going to turn your back? Pretend they don't exist? What kind of daughter does that? She let out a sharp breath, and for a moment I thought she was finished. But then her voice turned colder. You know what? If you want to be that kind of person, fine. But don't expect them to forgive you. Don't expect to come crawling back when you realize how much you need them. Because once you cross this line, there's no turning back. The message ended. Silence. I let the words sink in, my fingers still over the replay button. My ears buzzed, my hands felt numb. I should have been afraid. I should have panicked, rushed to fix it, to apologize. But instead, I felt calm. No, more than that. I felt liberated because she'd just confirmed it all. They didn't love me. They didn't respect me. They didn't even see me as a person. I was just a resource, a walking wallet. And the moment I stopped giving, I was worthless to them. If that was the case, then maybe it was time to be worthless to them. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my mother. Mom, last chance, Sophie. Send the rent. I stared at the message for a long time. Then, without a second thought, I blocked her. I blocked my dad. I blocked my aunt. And just like that, for the first time in years, I was free. Or so I thought. Because the next day, my brother showed up at my door. The knock on my door sent a chill through me. It was early, too early. The kind of early when most people are still in bed, the sun just beginning to rise. For a moment, I considered ignoring it. Maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe it was something other than what I knew it was. Another knock, louder, more urgent. I took a deep breath, bracing myself, and walked to the door. My fingers paused on the handle, my heart racing, and then I opened it. There stood my brother, Ethan. His face was a mix of fury and desperation. His clothes were disheveled, like he hadn't slept. His eyes, bloodshot, almost wild. "Are you for real, Sophie?" His voice was razor sharp, pressing against me. "What's wrong with you?" I blinked, keeping my face neutral. "Nice to see you too," he scoffed, dragging a hand through his messy hair. "Don't play games. Don't act like this is nothing. You blocked everyone. Mom's losing it. Dad's raging. You're just... What? Cutting us off? Pretending we don't exist?" I crossed my arms, leaning against the doorframe. "I don't know, Ethan. Maybe I'm just tired of being treated like a cash dispenser." His jaw tightened. "Oh, come on. Not this again. Not this again?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Ethan, I've been paying your rent for years. I've covered your bills, your groceries, even your ridiculous gym membership. And the one time I say no, the one time I set a limit, Mom calls me selfish, and now you show up at my door like I've done something wrong." Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came out. I kept going. "And don't even try to act like you care about me." I saw the video. His face drained of color. For the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. "What video?" I smiled, but it wasn't kind. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." Ethan shifted, looking away. His hands curled into fists. "Look, Dad, it wasn't serious, okay? We were just messing around." "You're being dramatic." "Messing around?" My voice was soft now, but cutting. "You all sat there laughing, calling me a pitiful loser, saying I should be thankful for the privilege of paying your bills. Do you know what that feels like, Ethan? To hear your own family talk about you like that?" He exhaled roughly, rubbing his face. "Sophie, come on." "No," I cut him off. "You come on. You want the money? Get a job. You want someone to take care of you? Find someone else." Silence. He stood there, frozen, staring at me. And for a moment I saw something flicker across his face, something vulnerable. But it vanished quickly. "You don't mean that," he muttered. I held his gaze. "Yes, I do." Another silence. Then his expression hardened. His mouth twisted into something bitter. "Fine," he spat. "You want to be a selfish BTCH? Go ahead." And with that, he turned and stormed off. I stood there, my chest tight but my resolve firm, watching him go. Because he was mistaken. I did have someone left. I had myself. But as I shut the door, exhaling shakily, my phone vibrated again. I glanced at it, seeing my mother's name flashing. I wasn't going to answer, not this time. I'd been under her thumb for too long. Her demands, her manipulations, the way she'd weaponized my sense of obligation to keep me tethered, draining everything I had just to keep her afloat. No more. I flipped the phone face down and walked away. The reality was, I was finished. Done being their financial crutch, the safety net that kept them comfortable while they refused to stand on their own 2 feet. Done with the deception, the lies, the lies. They'd never asked how I was doing, never considered the cost of my sacrifices.